Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Mindful Mondays. Before we begin, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to this. If you're listening to this on another platform later on. And also, before we begin, please hit a like, subscribe, also comment, also share this video with anyone you feel like will benefit from the content we have today. And speaking of content today we're going to be digging into dopamine. Last week I talked about dose, which are the four neurochemicals that help our brain function a whole lot better, help us feel better on a daily basis. I talked a lot about that. We're going to talk about dopamine today. Again, first off, this is Mindful Mondays. Again, let me introduce myself. I didn't do that at the beginning. My fault. My name is Keith Lisenbee. I am the CEO and owner of Atlas Behavioral Health Consulting. And I'm here each Monday to talk to you about how we can be more mindful and more spirited and more intentional with empathy through our weeks. So let's jump into our topic again with dopamine. We'll explore through this episode, we're going to explore how dopamine fuels joy and action and motivation, why modern habits that we have drain it, and how you can refill your reserves through simple science-based steps. We'll also connect with Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett's body budget concept in terms of constructing emotions and how intentional empathy and its framework fit into this. By the end, you'll have practical tools to reset your mind and energy for the week ahead. What is dopamine? Let's jump right in. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that helps us pursue goals and feel good about achievements. It's not just a pleasure chemical that you hear about. It's a motivation driver. Whether it's going to the gym, solving a puzzle, or completing a work task, dopamine says this is worth doing. But today's environment, fast social media, instant gratification often hijacks this entire system, which then leaves us less motivated and more dependent on these short bursts of stimulation that do not last. Other instant gratification sources are things like substances, alcohol, drugs, but also other activities like social media, but as well as gambling, pornography, and video games, to name a few. Let's see how dopamine fits into the body budget concept. Neuroscientist Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett talks about a body budget is how your brain manages all of your physical and emotional energy and resources. Healthy dopamine helps maintain that balance in your body budget. Too much stimulation throws your budget completely into a deficit. When your budget is in a deficit, just like if your bank budget is in a deficit, you're going to feel pretty bad. You're going to feel down. You're going to feel have no energy, and you even might get more sick physically. That is why scrolling all night, skipping meals, overdosing on screens can leave you wired and exhausted. Replenishing your budget means resting properly, eating well, and choosing behaviors that boost dopamine naturally and sustainably. What are some dopamine draining behaviors also? Like I said, overuse of social media, alcohol and drugs, video games. Again, this gives is a fast hit, then a crash. Other more slower strategies that we'll talk about later build dopamine over time in a very healthy way. And once it's done, it's sustainable throughout the entire day. Let's talk about more healthy habits then on how to boost your dopamine up in a sustainable and healthy way. We're going to talk about number one, the idea of presence. Practice being fully engaged. The intentional empathy principles talk about connection, empathy, talking and communicating with other people. Practice being fully engaged. When you're with someone, let's say at dinner or at home, in order to spend that good quality time, put that phone down. put it away. Put it away while talking. Even if you go outside for a walk, for example, which is another great idea to boost dopamine, take that phone away. Just remove it. Presence with others and with yourself lets your brain enjoy experiences fully and sustainably. Awareness. Pause and ask, how does this make me feel later? When you engage in an activity, just think about it. Do a scan of yourself. When you engage in an activity and it's really pleasurable at the start, but you crash very soon after, chances are that's not a very healthy way of boosting your dopamine and motivation. Talk about clarity. Here's the idea of setting very small, realistic, I would call, as people would call, smart goals for the start of your day. Maybe one or two. For example, one, make your bed. Make your bed. Take a task off the list. It's not the most pleasant activity in the world, but it sets your day in motion and builds up dopamine and further motivation later in the day. Another idea, brush your teeth first thing in the morning, 2 minutes. Again, not the most pleasurable activity in the world, but once you achieve it, you do it, you're on track for the rest of your day. Start as early as possible. Another healthy habit to jump into. Spread pleasures throughout the day. Don't cram them in all at one time. Space them out. You know, take breaks, then 2 or 3 hours of something else, do some movement. Then a couple hours later, do some social time. And a couple hours later, do something else pleasurable. Just space them out, not just in one big swoop in the day. Set some boundaries for yourself. Number 5 on the list here. TJ Power was a neuroscientist who talked about the dose effect and wrote a book at the same title, which we took a lot of info from last week. He talks about the idea of phone fasting, which means avoiding your phone for the first and last 60 minutes of your day. If that's too hard, try 30. But I really recommend folks go for 1 hour, 60 minutes, if not longer. Also, try turning off those notifications or setting a do not disturb, particularly doing deep work time when you're trying to focus and concentrate. It takes 20 minutes. Once you're distracted, if you're working, it takes 20 minutes to get back on track. And then in the middle of that, you've already, with those notifications and responding to them, you've given yourself a dopamine hit and now you feel worse. And so then it may even take longer than those 20 minutes to get back to what you need to do and on the task at hand. Let's talk a little bit deeper about the phone fasting idea. And let's talk about the idea of how dopamine fits into addiction. It's probably some of you thinking, pleasure, instant pleasure, people get addicted to drugs and alcohol. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about addiction. Dr. Anna Lemke, who is the author of a book called Dopamine Nation, explains that addiction hijacks our dopamine system. When we chase instant gratification and pleasure through phones, substances, or other compulsive behaviors, gambling, shopping, pornography, for example, we overstimulate. We overstimulate the brain's reward pathway system. Over time, continual compulsive use and abuse, this reduces our baseline dopamine. We do not get our brains back on track. Therefore, it leaves us anxious, unmotivated, and even depressed. She suggests a single but very powerful practice. Abstain from dopamine triggering behavior, like social media or substances or activities that are compulsive in nature, for up to 30 days. Now, this may sound very harsh, very hard for people, but this is the way the brain resets itself in order to get maximum sustainable dopamine, particularly if someone's been engaging in addictive compulsive behaviors over an extended period of time. A bit of warning. If you know someone or you yourself is addicted to alcohol, benzodiazepine medications like Ativan, Xanax, for example, or barbiturates, in order to stop use, consult with a medical professional or a behavioral health professional before doing any type of stopping those substances because you'll need medical intervention or at least observation, discussion, assessment before doing so. 30 days it takes for the brain's dopamine system, its pleasure, pain pathways to reset. So just think about that. Even after a couple of days of phone fasting completely, you actually will start feeling better because your brain will be resetting its system to enhance healthier dopamine in the future. So going back to a previous idea about no phones during meals, 60 minutes after waking, 60 minutes before sleep. If you can push it to 2 hours, do so. Replace these windows with quiet, with movement, reading, or human connection. More on that later. At first, I will tell you, I will promise you, and I will tell you that at first it is uncomfortable to break these habits that are instant gratification, dopamine boosts. But I guarantee you also, if you let your brain go through the process of that uncomfortableness, after a day or two of these steps, you will start feeling more clarity, more presence, more motivation, and you'll feel better in the long run. You will have rewired your brain to find joy in slower, deeper experiences, not just the next thing around, not just the next buzz. Let's expand on tools to help you with this process. Building sustainable dopamine habits is key to maintaining energy and emotional balance. Here are 3 additional intentional empathy aligned activities that help rebalance your brain's reward system. Number 1, big on the list, exercise. Physical activity like walking, stretching, dancing releases dopamine and endorphins, improving mood, improving focus, and resilience. Start with small, enjoyable routines and build gradually to support your body budget. So if you're very new to getting plenty of exercise and movement, then start off slow. Start off with 5 to 10 minutes, but then build up from there in time, up to 20 to 25, 30 minutes. Another idea, another concept here is journaling. It's important to keep track of how we are feeling and how our body is feeling. Writing for even 5 to 10 minutes a day helps you identify emotional patterns and triggers. It deepens self-awareness and reinforces clarity, both key to noticing how dopamine flows from accomplishment and reflection. Third, and you might be a little bit surprised by this one, but try it. Reading. If you remember one of my first episodes here, I talked about the 3 things to do every day, and I've mentioned at least 2 of them already, the exercise and movement, and also journaling is another one. Another one is reading, and that goes into the category of learning something new, which is the third thing. Reading, unplugging with a book instead of a screen, and I'm not talking about Kindles, Kindles count, slows overstimulation and allows for a more immersive engagement. Reading boosts imagination, focus, and calm, giving you a very healthy, steady dopamine increase and a better rhythm with it. Also, reading nonfiction helps with learning new things. Reading fiction actually improves empathy because you're getting into the characters and getting into the perspectives of other people. So that's another additional benefit of reading. These very simple tasks, exercise, journaling, reading, as well as in more engagement, also help with dopamine significantly. They are intentional actions and purposeful, Another one to think about also is exposure to cold. Now, you've probably heard in social media out there, there's a few people out there on YouTube that talk about exposure to cold. They talk about things like cold showers, cold plunges, and things like that. I will tell you from personal experience, these are really uncomfortable. I also tell you from professional and personal experience that exposure to cold, even splashing your face with cold water, holding ice cubes in your hand until they melt, as well as cold showers and cold plunges, I will tell you it does increase dopamine levels significantly over the course of the day. It is uncomfortable and it is a little bit, quote, painful. Obviously, if everyone's ever been in a water where they were expecting it to be hot and it was not, that uncomfortableness, that sets our brain's pleasure balance, pain balance system. What it does is you're paying for the pleasure up front. It's uncomfortable. You don't like it. It's hard to deal with, but you're paying for the pleasure of up front by experiencing the pain in the beginning. So here's another scenario. Think about this. Say you feel drained at 3 p.m. Instead of grabbing coffee and checking Instagram for an hour and a half, or even 15 minutes for that matter, take a 10-minute walk in sunlight. No phone, just breathe. And yes, I said it, no phone, just breathe. You will return to your task clearer and energized. Your body budget will be replenished, your dopamine system in a better shape, and you'll be more motivated instead of crashed. This is a small shift, but it improves the rest of your day. As we reach our conclusion today, I want to talk to you about a weekly challenge. Every week I've given you a challenge, and I hope you've been very successful in those challenges. This week, let's all try a dopamine daily double. Each day, choose 2 habits from today's episode, like take a walk, do one of the really quick, easy morning goals, make your bed, brush your teeth, straighten up your bedroom, reflect at the day's end, journal on it. How did your mood shift during doing it and then afterwards? Did you feel better? Did you feel more motivated? Do you feel like, yes, I accomplished something, I'm moving forward? Where in your day do you then experience or notice more calm and motivation and joy? Write that down in that journal. Track the patterns. Watch the energy grow. So please try these activities. There's a lot of them. I know I mentioned a lot in there, in here today, but all of them are science-based. All of them help with boosting that dopamine level, increasing your motivation, increasing the drive to get through all of the many tasks we have during the day. So I'll stop here. If there's any questions and anyone who's with us in the chat and the audience today, I'm open for questions. The floor is yours. Okay. Well, probably a lot of information all at once, and so forth. But if you have any comments or anything like that, please leave a comment with the video. Please remember to take a like on the video. Please share this video if there's anyone in your life that might benefit from the information here further. Yeah, share it with them. Let's go ahead and close with the Daily Huddle rules. Now, you'll probably see some similarities between these rules and what I've talked about. So number one, love always. So that talks about being engaged, stay engaged. Laugh out loud. That improves endorphins, by the way. Stress less. Eat more plant-based foods. Eating better food increases that body budget I was talking about. Give freely to others. Get proper sleep, another way of boosting a body budget. Sleep at least 7 hours. Make a good quality sleep. Move around and exercise is number 7. And last but not least, check your assumptions. Thank you for joining me. Remember, you can always rewire your brain one habit at a time. Be kind to your mind this week, and I'll see you next time.